What a glorious night for a cruise. Just the night to slide away from it all. So let's get back from whence we came, from the calm and peaceful sea. It is believed that we originally came from the sea. Well, it's great to be back, settling down to the most sublime and restful place in the world beneath the waves. Well, this is a life that is entirely different. A life where you gently retire from the bumps and buffetings of life above the waves. For down here, all is still and untroubled. Well, we've done with that for the moment. Right, we know where we are. Do we know where we're going? Yes, we are striding out across the ocean, so keep her steady as she goes. No trouble at all. She handles better than my old banger on land. Well, you can forget about the land for a week or two, because a nuclear submarine can stay away at sea for as long as it likes, if necessary. It is a most remarkable vessel. It's so incredibly independent. It goes its own quiet way for weeks and weeks, halfway around the world and back again, and never a stop for fuel. It is a solitary, self-contained unit, but of course it needs checking and tending like any mechanical animal. This electrician, Tony, joined the Navy when he was 16 and will probably stay in until he's 32. But who knows? You've got a job to give up this sort of life once you get a taste for it. An odd sort of taste to have? No, not really when you come to think of it. There's a lot of shore leave goes with this job, and a lot of extra pay as well. But those are perhaps minor considerations. What matters to Tony is that he's learned a trade, and he is an important member of the crew of a nuclear submarine. And a nuclear submarine needs quite a lot of watching. And the important part of watching is to know just where to watch. Well, that's the end of this watch. Now, we've got something else to watch.
This time I shall not fail.
Oh, ye gods! Help me! Help me!
Well, that was well worth watching. Ooh. And now I think we've seen all we want to see for today. We'll leave the submarine to roam alone under the secret cloak of the sea. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. That's an awful lot of room for all sorts of rascals to get up to all sorts of nonsense. And one of the handiest and smartest ships to stop most sorts of nonsense is one of these destroyers. Well, if you're called a destroyer, the least you can do is destroy something. So, do you happen to have anything handy that you can destroy for us? Nothing tremendous, you know, just a little something. Ah, good. There you are. Now see if you can knock that out of the sky. Oh, come on, it's getting away from you. Oh, don't mess about. Nobody's doing anything. Look at them talking about it. At last. Well, that's not much of a shot, is it? It's wandering about like a lost tadpole. Oh, beg pardon. How did you manage to get that tadpole to blow that target to smithereens? Ah, well, you see, it's not as easy as all that. Destroyers nowadays are very complicated bits of machinery. They no longer hiss with steam or rattle with the clamour of shovels. The days of choking coal dust and black sweat are over and done with. Don't look now, but you see this bloke, name of Allen? Well, he used to be called a stoker. He used to be. He used to be just one of the dozens of stokers who shoveled night and day to keep the destroyer moving along. But nowadays, Allen is known as a leading marine engineering mechanic, and marine engineers have to interpret the language of the dozens of different machines that murmur to themselves and betray their thoughts on dials. Machines that pump, machines that generate, machines that freeze and machines that heat, And there are machines all over the place, and they're all dependent on each other and on the marine engineer who looks after them. Alan is just 23. He knows what he wants, he knows what he likes. And if someone asked him if he'd like a nice shore job in a nice big factory somewhere, well, he'd probably tell them to go take a jump in the sea. It's easy enough to do that here. Alan's ship sails the deep blue Mediterranean, and when conditions are right, they just stop for a swim. It's ridiculous, isn't it? When you think that landlubbers save up all the year round to pay to come on a cruise to lark about like this in the warm Mediterranean sun, and these blokes get paid for it. Ah, well. It takes all sorts to make the world go round. But these chaps certainly get around the world. Where are we now? Turkey? Lucky blighters. You see, to be a marine engineer, you have to understand the complications of machinery. You should be able to tell at a glance just what You see, there are two things to remember when dealing with machinery. You've got to watch your rev counter, and then the next... What girl? Where? Oh, that was last night. Today we have serious things to attend to, like this football match. Oh yes, the local Turkish team is only too pleased to take on the Navy, and the Navy's doing all right. Well, not bad. But that'll do for today, chaps, so blow up. One thing about a life at sea, it does give you a walloping appetite. Now, what have we got on the menu today? Ship's biscuits and a lump of pickled pork? You'd be very unlucky if you got that nowadays. There's no need to rough it anymore, just because you're at sea. Everything's neat, tidy, light and airy. And the food is good whether you're aboard this destroyer or this minesweeper. Of course, there's not the same amount of room on a minesweeper. I say, you've got a good plateful there, mate, haven't you? Yeah, not bad, not bad. I expect you'll soon get that lot down the hatch. How did you guess? No, there's not the same amount of room on a minesweeper, for a minesweeper is one of the Navy's little ships. But life on one of the little ships suits these lads here right down to the ground. I mean the water. It's a small, compact, matey little community that keeps a little ship buzzing about. How big is a little ship? Well, there you are. About this big. Handy, fast and adaptable. Will go anywhere, do anything. Willing to travel to Persian Gulf, Indian Ocean, and all stations to Hong Kong. Wide experience at fishery protection and the safeguarding of vital interests. Always willing to keep sharp lookout for suspicious hanky-panky. It's just the life for a gay young sea dog. Goodbye. Harry is only 20, and he's a seaman on a minesweeper. That means he's called upon to do a bit of everything. And at the moment, it's time for him to do a bit of everything. Right then, let's see if we can keep her on a steady course. Where are we? Right hand down a bit, I'd say. Yes, right hand down a bit.
180.
They've been doing a little minesweeping in the English Channel, but now it's time to haul in the gear and head for home. Of course, the weather's fine today and things run pretty smoothly. Well, that makes up for the days when it's blowing a gale and you've got a job to stand up. So bring that lollipop in, my boys. The lollipop is simply the knob on the float that marks the cable, that tows the doings, that cuts any submerged mines free. And it's time for you to get a breath of fresh air, Harry. I'm sure you'll enjoy that, won't you? That's the attractive thing about these little ships. There are so many different things to do. You're not stuck with one routine job all the time. There's bags of variety, in this spicy, salty life. These chaps even man the guns when the guns are needed. But come on there, the sooner we get that gear in, the sooner we'll be back in port. All right, but you could easily mess up a job like this, you know. Have you got it, Harry? Wait a minute. Yeah. All right then, wind away. What? No power winch? Well, it is a power winch, but it's handier to do the last bit like this. Oh, I see. So we'll be home to tea, Mum. Put her hard to port, because that's just where we're making for. Very nice little ship, that. Yes, but of course not everybody likes a little ship. No, it takes all sorts. Of course it does. Well, have you got anything a bit bigger? Oh, yes, we've got one a lot bigger. Oh, one of those? Yes. Is that big enough? Well, it is one of the biggest nowadays, isn't it? The aircraft carrier? Yes. And this one's buzzing like billy-o with a deck full of helicopters. Yes, but I must put you right here. This is not really an aircraft carrier. This is a commando carrier. Oh, I see. It takes commandos around and delivers them in helicopters. Exactly. Oh. And who's this? And what's he do? Well, he's Charlie, and he's an aircraft mechanic. Oh, very important person. Oh, yes. Helicopters need expert attention. I see. And no doubt Charlie learned his trade in the Navy? Oh, yes. Whatcha, Keith? So now he's a highly qualified air mechanic. And this is a routine check, is it? Oh, yes. Carried out before and after every flight. Job to know where to start, isn't it? Oh, Charlie and Keith know. Charlie's seen something he doesn't like there. Look at this, Keith. Can you spare a minute, Chief? What's the matter? You found something? Yeah, I don't like the look of that there. No, I don't like the look of that there either. Needs a replacement. Yeah. Now, I wonder if I'll find anything else that I don't like the look of. Well, I don't like the look of that chopper much. What's the matter with it? It looks most peculiar. Its windmills have collapsed. It looks like a dead, swatted fly. Yes, doesn't it? We stow them away like that. Oh, I get it. You've got to fold your helicopter up when you put it away. That's right. Ah. And you've got to unfold it when you want it to fly. Well, naturally. So first catch a helicopter and then carefully unfold. Exactly. Is it much of a job unfolding a helicopter? No, not when you know how. Whoops. Simple, isn't it? And that's handy, it wags its tail too. Well, all we need now is a troop or two of commandos. I've just rung the bell for them. Oh, are they real? They are. Well, that all went like clockwork, didn't it? Yes. Worth a spot of shore leave. Yeah, well, where's the nearest port? There we are. Will that do? Do very well, I should say. Looks as though you could enjoy yourself there, all right. Hong Kong. The trouble with Hong Kong is that there's so much to see, so much to do, so many shops, so many people. It's all a bit bewildering at first. You just don't know where to start. Hey, don't you just. They're proper gluttons for punishment, these chaps. They get a nice spot of shore leave and they put back to sea straight away in a Chinese junk with a couple of birds. Still, it's a wonderful harbour, the harbour at Hong Kong, and its great attraction, of course, is that it is a free port. Pretty well all the goods on sale in the shops carry no tax. But you've got to bargain to get the best prices. Ooh, that's a nice bag. Yeah, I'll buy it for you tomorrow. And what will we do tomorrow? Well, we'll go to the Tiger Balm Gardens. Tiger Balm? Yes. Well, once upon a time, there was a man, and he made a wonderful ointment, and he sold tons and tons of it, and he became very rich, and he called the ointment Tiger Balm. And being thankful for his good fortune, he built these curious gardens so that those less fortunate than he could share in his enjoyment of these sort of things. You know, they remind me of my chief pay officer. He looks just like them sometimes after breakfast in the morning. It's the fat on the bacon, I suppose, that upsets him. You haven't bought that handbag yet. No, tomorrow. Come on. Where are we going now? You'll see. Blow me if they aren't going to sea again. Yeah, well, it's the only way to get to a floating restaurant. You've got to float across to it. These floating restaurants serve up the most wonderful fish dishes. Prawns, lobsters, just say the word and along it comes. So hold very tightly there to your chopsticks and dive in. Lovely. What do we do after this? Go to the opera. The Chinese one, that is. It's a job to know what it's all about, of course. You've just got to guess. I think it's Aladdin and his wonderful lamp. Oh, yeah. I ain't got your wonderful lamp, mate. Oh, no. Not me. Oh, no. Well, somebody nicked my lamp. I had it last night. I know, I saw it hung up. I know who took lamp. It was wicked uncle. He hid lamp in laundry basket. You never bought me that handbag. No, I'll get it for you when we come back. When we come back. Here's someone coming back. The nuclear submarine, blowing itself to the surface like a great sperm whale. So you can pack your bags, lads. There's several weeks' leave due to you. Have a good time. Yes, but it's like going on holiday. After a few weeks, you want to be doing something. And you can be doing something really interesting on a nuclear submarine, if it suits you. It may suit you better on a destroyer, of course. It suits Alan pretty well. But then Harry is different again. The little ships are what he likes, the nippy little ships. But it's just as well that we all don't like little ships, because there's plenty of room on the big ships, the carriers. That's the great thing about a life in the Navy. There are so many different things to do in so many different parts of the world. It takes all sorts to make a world, and the Navy needs all sorts.